Good morning, ABR-MarketWatch viewers. Let's kickstart your day with today's market highlights. The S&P 500 and Nasdaq Composite closed at new records, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average dipped slightly. Oracle, run by Larry Ellison, surged over 35%, adding $255 billion to its valuation, making Ellison temporarily the world's wealthiest person with a net worth of $383 billion. This surge was driven by Oracle's massive backlog of contracted work worth over $455 billion. However, focus now shifts to inflation day, with the consumer price index for August expected to reveal a worrying 2.9% year-on-year increase. If this figure aligns or falls below expectations, it could strengthen investor confidence in a possible interest rate cut by the Federal Reserve in September. Conversely, an overshoot could complicate matters and potentially dampen the current market momentum. Markets are bracing for geopolitical tensions, as the EU proposes to suspend trade agreements with Israel following events in Gaza, and protests erupt in France over proposed budget cuts that may signal a new period of social unrest. The NATO has engaged Russian drones on a member's territory, testing the alliance's defenses. In the energy sector, U.S. crude oil stockpiles have increased for a second week, contradicting analyst predictions of a decline. The world is showing a growing demand for copper, as it plays a crucial role in AI and military spending trends. Economists predict that health insurance costs for businesses will rise by the most in 15 years due to escalating healthcare costs. Inflationary pressures persist in China, as consumer prices fell into contraction during August. The world is crazy for copper as two new megatrends, artificial intelligence and rising military spending, drive demand for the metal. U.S. White House economist Stephen Miran advanced through a Senate committee vote and remains on track for a September meeting, despite ongoing controversies surrounding his nomination. In brief, markets are seeing mixed performance with the S&P 500 reaching a new record and the Nasdaq Composite hitting an all-time high, despite Apple's slump affecting the Dow Industrials. Wholesale inflation was more muted than expected in August, with the producer price index falling 0.1%. Investors are now looking towards Thursday's August Consumer Price Index report, as it could impact the Federal Reserve's decision on interest rate cuts beyond September. Geopolitical tensions remain high, with the EU proposing to suspend its trade agreement with Israel due to recent events in Gaza, and protests erupting in France over proposed budget cuts that may signal a new period of social unrest. Crude oil stockpiles have increased for a second week, contradicting analyst predictions of a decline, and health insurance costs for businesses are set to rise by the most in 15 years due to growing healthcare costs. Invest wisely, stay informed, and remember, every day is a new opportunity in the market.